From the creators who brought you RuPaul's Drag Race and $1 Million Listing, this is World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Well, hello everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of the Wow Report on Radio Andy, where we count down the top 10 things that make us go wow.
Wow.
This is our, I think it's our sweet 16th episode from quarantine. Yeah, we're all remote. I'm here with Tom Campbell. I'm not here. Tom Campbell is not here either. Tom is with me virtually, remotely. Yeah. Hi, Tom. Hi, Tom. And filling in for James St. James, as if you could ever fill in for James St. James. Eclipsing James St. James, dare I say this, is Bianca Del Rio.
Hello, hello, hello.
You need no introduction, but you are the winner of RuPaul's Drag Race Season 6.
Season 6, and you know, when you say Season 6, it sounds like forever, because what, you're 12 now, right? 12, Season 12, and then there's like 52 fucking All-Star seasons you've had, so yes, I'm up there. 16,
you're one of the originals. You're the old guard, baby.
Yeah. It almost begs for a return of Bianca in some way. I don't know what it might be.
Oh yeah, well, talk to my lawyer, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to start the countdown.
Yes.
And of course, at number 10, 10, 10, 10s across the board.
Number 10.
Bianca Del Rio.
Woo! Well, I mean, you know, life's been good. I recently, right before the quarantine happened, I lucked out. I was in London doing a musical called Everybody's Talking About Jamie. I was able to do 2 stints of that. So I did it in the spring, and then I did it in the fall. And following that, came home and was going to go house shopping and get my tonsils out. And in the midst of this, everything fucking went to shit. So I have been trapped in a house of boxes since it all started.
But I think you're in the desert, right? You're sojourning in the desert. Is that right?
That I am. No, you know, I didn't think I was going to like it at first because I'd only been to Palm Springs once. And I said, you know, I could live here because mainly old people, which are going to make me look younger. I can deal with the heat because I'm from New Orleans. And, you know, air conditioned. Y'all gave me $100,000. I can pay for air conditioned now. I'm a fancy bitch.
But doesn't your air conditioning
slowly, I have to say. You're spending that very slowly. A little bit here, a little bit there. Excuse me.
What is the temperature right now?
I think today was 118, which is kind of insane. But I have to say, though, coming from New Orleans and also living in New York, there is no humidity. So literally in the sun itself, it's really hot. But as soon as you get into the shade, it's not bad. Or if you're shady as I am, you know.
118 Fahrenheit still sounds kind of like the end of the world to me. Sorry.
Hey, I'm looking at you two, and this virus exists.
I also want to point out that either I have 2 theories, and these are conspiracy theories, and take them either way. One is that because you literally have been traveling on the road, doing gigs around the country and the world since Season 6 until the moment that COVID started and shut down the world.
So you're close. I had one break because I had vocal cord surgery because they found a pube in my throat. And then I had that removed. So that took a couple weeks out of me. But literally since then, yeah. And
I think by your stopping, the universe either had to replace you with COVID. That was that. Or you've been spreading COVID around the world and finally you were done. And you have, you know, now the whole world has a little bit.
I never thought I'd say this publicly, but I think you're on me. Yeah, you're on to me. On to me. Yes.
But what is that adjustment? I mean, was it a difficult adjustment from being permanently on the road to like lockdown then?
Well, I made my house look like a hotel. Number one, that's been very beneficial. But also, it's just been like, you know, this past 2 weeks have been the more challenging one because now everything's kind of getting in place and all my furniture's kind of arriving that I've ordered online. So now I kind of feel like, okay, what's next? What's next? You know, and as you're writing Corona jokes, you're sitting back thinking, oh, shit, is this going to matter later? I mean, you know, when we finally do get back out to work, everybody's going to have a fucking Corona, you know, monologue. So I've just been slowly thinking of my hateful things, using it on my neighbors. You know, some of them are just rental properties. They're not here all year. Some of them are old. So I'm just happy if I get a grunt. But that's kind of where I'm at right now.
I'm obsessed with conspiracy theories just now, which I won't talk about because it gets too political. Obsessed with them, and I can't believe how stupid people are who believe them. But maybe you should, for your act, you can be a COVID denier. Never happened.
You see? Gia Gunn did that recently. What an asshole. I was like, but you know, it is kind of fascinating because I became that person. I'd come back from London. I was sick in London for a week. And then I was that asshole at the airport going, oh, well, I must have had it. I mean, I must be safe now. Yeah. But my assistant, Jamie, who you know, keeps telling me to wear a mask. And it's not because of COVID. It's because I'm just ugly. But yeah, that's where we are. That's where we are.
Well, for those of you missing Bianca on the Road, you can stream Hurricane Bianca from Russia with Hate on Netflix. Her book, Blame It on Bianca, The Expert on Nothing, with an opinion on everything, is available on Amazon. I mean, we can get our Bianca fix with you.
Yeah, I also haven't, you know, I have my special, which hasn't been out yet. So that's coming out soon, the one that I just filmed. And also, you know, new tour dates that we're just kind of sorting around and trying to figure out, you know, looking like 2021 is the opportunity. I was just talking to Harvey Firestein, who I love dearly. It sounds so fancy, but he'll talk to anybody. He's not that special. But he told me he was working on a version of Funny Girl. And as he was discussing it, all I'm thinking is, it's going to be me. It's going to be me. No, he needed more tech people. So that's where I'm at. That's where I'm at. It's probably not going to be till next year.
Okay, well, stick around for the rest of the show and chime in as we keep counting down the top 10 things that made us go, wow. Number 9, Tom.
Number 9.
Kanye West, Kanye's Krisis. I tiptoe into the subject. I didn't even know whether to bring it up because ultimately it feels like a very unfunny topic because he is suffering, I think, it would appear, from mental illness. That, you know, he's running for president. He's going off about Harriet Tubman. Has boldly said things about Kim, and he was considering aborting their child. You know, some people want to write it off as like this is just promo for his new album, which this is right now. And also he's called Kris Jenner, like I forget, Kim Jong-un or like some kind of
Kris Jong-un, which is actually kind of funny. Right.
Have you seen them both in the same room? Let's be fucking real.
That's true.
Uncanny. Yeah.
But I don't know. What do you guys think? Do you try to ignore this, or what do you make of it all? What should we do?
Well, I mean, I recently made a comment I put on Twitter last night. I said, you know, Kanye's complaining and crying and saying all this crazy shit. I said he should just save that till he's eliminated on Drag Race. That's when it's most important. That's when you get sympathy. And then people are like, mental health and blah, 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 blah. I come from a world of, he's got money, he's got family, he's got insurance, he's got the best doctors in the world. Look. What else? We don't need another crazy person in office that's a pseudo celebrity. Let's be real. You know?
I thought it was kind of weird when he said he was running for president. I thought that was crazy, but I didn't realize that perhaps it was a manifestation of what's going on with him, because definitely the last couple of days of things have escalated. Yeah. And you're completely right about having the best resources. But I think that the terrible thing about mental illness is simply that when you've lost your mind, you are the last person who thinks you need help. And it's very hard to get someone help if they won't allow it themselves. So it's a sort of...
And that's why we invited you here today, Bianca. If you heard from all of us that you might have a breakthrough and realize you're fucking nuts.
But listen, though, why does every crazy person tweet? That's what I don't understand. Is there something in the phone saying, tell us your secrets? Why is it always the fucking Twitter? Go be crazy alone like Miss Havisham. Be Norma Desmond. Live in your own fucking world at home. You've got money. You've got people to lie to you. I don't understand that Twitter connection. It's wild. Fucking wild.
And maybe that is, you know, all of our awareness around mental health, which seems much more heightened, you know, in the past years. Maybe it's because of social media, because people used to be crazy in the attic or crazy walking down the street or crazy amongst their friends. But now part of the crazy is broadcasting it to millions and billions and millions of people. So,
and don't you find people just love sympathy? People love the sympathy for the crazy people. It's just like, oh, well, you're crazy. Yeah. I know a lot of crazy people. I'm looking at 2 right now. What it is.
I think Twitter may actually itself be, were you saying, Tom, that Twitter itself could be a slightly crazy idea? The idea that you can be sort of...
It's aggrandizing, right? It's having a voice and reaching out. You know, it's the Amanda Bynes of it all. that whole thing. So anyway, I don't wish harm to anyone or badness. Kanye, I hope they get him under control. I don't, it's not an easy thing.
Yeah.
But, please don't consider him for president, please, whatever you do.
I think that's right. But actually, if you are feeling crazy or unwell or dealing with mental illness or no friend, you can always go to the crisis text line. You text HOME, HOME, to 741-741.
There you go.
Thank you.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Tom, I mean, I was going to talk about Netflix, I May Destroy You, but I'm only on episode 6, and I'm in such a state about it. I can't talk about it. And so. But then I read this article, and this is for you, because it's called The Conspiracy Singularity Has Arrived. And it's an article by Anna Merlan on Vice News. It's a long feature. It's a great read. And her basic idea is, what is going on, with all these conspiracy theories? Why do we seem to be increasingly subscribing more and more to conspiracy theories, number one? And then number two, they always used to have their own lane. But now they've all merged into one mega gigantor conspiracy theory, which of course is QAnon is the sort of nexus, right, of this. It is a kind of crazy situation. And you were saying, Tom, that you thought you're very much about conspiracy theories. Why are you? What's happening?
What got me focus is on CNN this past week. Who's the international reporter? Faraz. I'm going to find out his name and say it correctly after the commercial. But he did an hour special that I'm sure you can get on demand or something. And it's it was hashtag Trump conspiracy. And they were singling him out because he's the first. Conspiracies on a major scale, they said, have existed since the Kennedy assassination. When something so devastating happens, they can't believe that it's a single person that could cause, it's too mind-boggling. And as humans, we all tend to gravitate toward conspiracy theories because we want things to make sense. We want answers. But it's just grown bigger and bigger and crazier and crazier. And now there's all these media outlets, QAnon. There's that awful guy who yells, what's his name? The one who said that Sandy Hook was never happened.
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones. They talk about him. And the worst part is, while there have always been conspiracy theories, they're in the White House. Trump retweets them. Who's the one that went to jail and got let out? Michael Flynn was just recently recorded saying the QAnon oath. Like, it's not subtle. It's happening. And the only result to me is chaos and destruction. There's no end game than that.
Well, do you think it's just a lot of deflection? Do you think that it's just like with the serious stuff that's going on, it's like, let's just throw this out, look over here, look over there, kind of a situation?
Yes, but then it's all the people that absorb it. As awful as Trump is and the Republican Party is, and the conspiracy people are, it's the people that believe it. It's this grassroots, I feel like we're not 50-50, but I feel like we're this crazy split. And part of it is that, I don't believe anything, Yeah.
I think it may be an American predisposition to magical thinking, that just a belief in things, a sort of a faith or a belief in things that just do not exist. Because for some reason, rational, logical, educated, scientific explanation is insufficient or doesn't give you what you want. And so they embrace, because it is a little like a sort of super evangelical faith, isn't it? It's the same. Believing in something that's, the less actual real evidence there is, scientific evidence for it, the more you believe it.
Yeah.
The more,
I'm convinced that the Bible is just a bunch of people in robes making up shit. It's like Reddit. That's really what the Bible is. All these years, it's people like, girl, let me tell you what he said. Girl, let me tell you what happened then. And Miss Thing. And, Jesus had enough. That's why he was hiding in that cave all those days. It happens. It's tricky.
I just want to. It's Fareed Zakaria is the reporter on CNN, the anchor, and it was called. I think it was called the Trump Conspiracy or Conspiracies, and it's a wonderful. It's 1 hour. It flies by, and it also talks about at one point we've always been wondering. We always had questions, and then it was God that was the conspiracy theory. Then it was kind of science in the 20th century, right? It was like the age of enlightenment and science, and now it's turned into these crazy, wacky, anti-science, anti-religion, really,
And it's also the big conspiracy of season 7. You know, Violet and Ginger Minge. I mean, that, honey, shook the world. Shook the world. Wow.
You know, Bianca, thank you for bringing us back. It was really important. Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, it's the perfect time to take a break. And Blake, you've got a question for us, right?
I do. Since 2/3 of you have written a book, I mean, this isn't counting Tom's little black book. What is the dot on the lowercase j and I called?
The lowercase dot.
The I on the lowercase j and the lowercase I.
The dot.
I don't know what it's called.
It's a punctuation question. Perfect moment for us to take a pause. You're listening to Wow Report on Radio Andy, and we'll be right back with our superstar guest, Bianca Del Rio, after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Tom and the legendary, the one, the only Bianca Del Rio.
Hello.
I gotta tell you, RuPaul's Drag Race Vegas review is coming to VH1 Friday, August the 21st at 8 p.m. We follow 6 legendary drag queens in their journey as performers in RuPaul's Drag Race Live, the residency at Flamingo, Las Vegas. It's
a docu-series, totally different. No one goes home.
No one gets eliminated, right? Evie Oddly, Asia.
No, they all got sent home thanks to Corona.
Spoiler alert!
Wah, wah. Asia O'Hara, Derek Barry, Cameron Michaels, Naomi Smalls, and Vanessa Vanjie Mateo. Ooh. All right,
those are my favorite queens of all time, Bianca.
Oh, good. It's the who's who of Who Cares. Yes, perfect. Exclusively hand-picked top choices, whoever was available. Got it.
Oh, the pain of it, the pain.
Blake asked us a question before the break. Let's see if we know the answer. What was the question, Blake?
Yes, it's a punctuation question. What do you call the dot on the lowercase j or the lowercase I?
I didn't think it had a specific name. What is it?
Called tildes, so I'm going to call this a Matilda.
I think it's a jot.
It's actually a tittle.
A tittle.
I think I was closest.
Tittle. Is it a D or a T?
Tittle. Tittle.
Now I want to know who sent in that question. Is that your question, or did someone send that in?
I found it on the internet.
Oh, you found it. Oh, you've got a lot of time.
Well, then I also verified it.
I don't know.
Tittle. Come tickle my tittle. Yeah, okay.
All right, we're counting down the top 10 things minutes ago. Wow, this week we've reached number 7, Tom.
Number 7.
Well, you know, we're going through a very tough time right now. All of us are around the world. And I'm so glad that my brother and sister are safe and well in New Hampshire. And every now and then they call with something cheery, or my nephew. My brother has sent me an article that was featured in the BBC. And it said that fertility rate, jaw-dropping global crash in children being born. I had to share the misery because I didn't know what to do with all that. The birth rate is like, it averages like 2.1 per person.
Yeah.
And it's going down to 2. And China and Japan are going to have by the year 2100, which I guess Bianca won't be alive by then. So
I know
the odds. Anyways, but Fenton has 2 children, and they may very well be alive at that point. And they're saying that the young, and it's basically because people have choices, and there's fertility, there's contraception and all that. But it means that there won't be enough of a working force to pay for all of the health care and needs of the old folks.
Interesting.
And you'd think that it was great because of the environment, because I hear less population. I always think there's just too many people. That's the problem.
No, and that's why you're always sending people home on Drag Race. Get out of here. But no, that is pretty fascinating. And this is like the first time in history, like the first time in what, the last 50 years that it's happened?
But no, in a long time. I mean, I think the population has been growing and growing and growing.
Yeah.
And now it's about to plummet and everywhere, and it's going to have a huge. But then I throw in, I'm no futurist, but like robots and robots taking over people's jobs and virtual reality. But who knows what? I mean, just think about what it's going to be like in 2100.
Kind of exciting.
In 2064, I read that the global population is expected to peak at 9.73 billion and then decline, and that this pandemic is also impact. People aren't having babies in the pandemic, but the thinking seems to be that people don't want to have babies or bring babies into a dangerous world, so it might accelerate.
Yeah, I mean, well, once again, I mean, gays can adopt children or have surrogates, but I'm sure if they could fuck, we'd have a lot of babies. You know what I mean? Think about it in this world at this time, you know?
And then I saw a story on 60 Minutes that in Hungary, which is becoming more and more authoritarian. At first, it was like this happy story about how you can get incentives to have children. And you can get loans, and then with one child, you can get loan forgiveness. With the second child, you can, all of these bonuses. But then sounds great. And I was like, I should have some children quick while I can in Hungary. And then I just for the extra bucks. And then they were sort of saying that then they kind of pick and choose which kind of people.
So
it's kind of another kind of pure, European bred kind of people.
And the other downside is the kids actually live, and then you got to deal with them. That's the worst.
My brother sent me that article for the BBC saying, jaw-dropping fertility rate, world's ending, and I just wrote back, guilty as charged.
It's all your fault.
It may go the other way, because I also read that some condom manufacturers are having to close down because of the COVID, and so a lack of condoms may result in more babies.
This is interesting. I had no idea. I mean, I don't bother with condoms. I wear a full hazmat suit when I have sex. Number one, because it's safe, and number two, people say it's sexy.
It's often requested, I'm sure.
Yes, it is. It was one night we were both drunk. Why are you telling the whole world?
Oh, if that's that's 7 people. No one's having babies. So, Tom, what's number 6?
Number 6.
Celebrities are having babies. I don't know. I was just trolling around the internet looking for some happy news. And you know what? There's not a lot, as you can tell by the sound of this thing. But Nicki Minaj, who was amazing on the season premiere of season 12, and I got to meet her I thought was boyfriend, but her husband then, and they seemed very tight, spent a lot of time together. Seemed very affectionate, and now she has posed on the Instagrams and things in full Nicki Minaj fabulousness. And for once, she's a beautifully shaped woman, very unusually shaped woman, but for once, she's balanced because she's got that big old booty and she got that big old baby bump.
Well, I looking at the picture, I just thought an implant shifted. I didn't know what the hell happened. I mean, we've all been in that position when we've left a Mexican restaurant after eating too much. But definitely, Lady Bunny needs to work on getting her ass a little bigger so she could look properly proportioned. I think that would give her a much better silhouette of the letter S. But good for her.
It is.
I love all these people that get all this plastic surgery and then they have kids, and I go, oh, what's the kid gonna look like? You know what I mean? We forget what they really look like.
Right. When movie stars with nose jobs and things get together, you never know what honker's gonna come out on their little baby intensity or whatever they call it. Yeah.
You're like, oh shit, that's truth right there. Truth. Yeah.
Now that's a pregnancy that's about to happen, and I did see and I love you, Nicki Minaj. I'm not just looking for joy in this. But there is a diagram that tried to explain how Nicki Minaj can sleep, like to sleep on her back.
I did.
So I think it would be some kind of like yummy, comfortable sling of sorts. That's just
how she got pregnant.
And then this baby just really popped out of nowhere.
Yeah.
And that is Justin Timberlake and Jessica Biel had a surprise baby. they knew about it. It wasn't like they were going to the prom.
I was going to say.
And I guess it's one good thing about for celebrities who want to keep things on the down low. That was one good thing about COVID. Like there was nobody going in and out, no paparazzi, no at the airport, no at restaurants. But I thought it must have been like a surrogate. But I guess Miss Jessica Biel had a baby, and this kind of, I hope, puts to rest all those rumors that Justin was caught sort of holding a girl's hand, and Jessica was really angry at him. I think I would venture to believe, even though there's truth in everything, that Jessica Biel and Justin Timberlake are so solid, so together, that their publicists come up with side scandals just to make them kind of interesting. Because otherwise, they're just kind of happy and at home.
My publicist does the same. My publicist constantly is saying, "I'm untalented. I'm completely useless." Sometimes it's factual. Sometimes it's, you know.
So all those mean tweets are planted by your publicist.
Completely.
All that hate mail. Okay.
Yeah. My publicist / housekeeper / anyway, yeah.
So blessings to the Justin Timberlakes, Mr. and Mrs. Justin Timberlake, and good health and healthy birth coming from Miss Nicki Minaj and her man.
Yes.
Okay, from very young things to very old things. Who's seen my number 5?
Number 5.
Who's seen The Old Guard?
Help me remember what that is.
The Old Guard is not a movie with Lady Bunny. It's a Netflix movie. It's Charlize Theron.
Right.
She's one of 5 immortal warriors who cannot die. And I suppose they
Lady Bunny.
They go around doing good things, good deeds, but they're indestructible until, and this is the plot of the movie, spoiler alert, a drug lord or a pharmaceutical evil person has identified them, and he's determined to capture them so he can study them and turn them in, create a medical miracle of immortality. That's the sort of top line, but it's actually this really gay superhero movie. And Charlize is a witch from centuries ago, and her girlfriend is called Quinn, Q-U-Y-N-H, and they've been burned at the stake, and they've been submerged in iron caskets, but they've been together for eternity.
We've all been there.
Her character's a lesbian for life.
Yes, and even better, there's Joe and Nicki, 2 guys. Joe is a Muslim queer person from the Crusades, and Joe and Nicki would kill each other in the Crusades. He was a Christian, and they're boyfriends. And there's this great scene where they're like, and they're immortal, but they have flaws, because otherwise, how would the movie progress? So they're captured, and they wake up. They come to in the back of a van, and the mercenaries say, "Are you boyfriends?" And Joe says, I'm just going to read this. He says, "You're a child, an infant. Your mocking is infantile. He's not my boyfriend. This man is more to me than you can dream. He's the moon when I am lost in darkness, warmth when I shiver in cold. His kiss still thrills me, even after a millennium. His heart overflows with the kindness which of this world is not worthy. I love this man beyond measure and reason. He's not my boyfriend. He's all and he's more." And then they make out in the back of the van.
It's a telenovela. I've seen that shit before. Oh, Sofia Vergara can deliver that much better. Seen it. Every Spanish soap opera.
I thought it was kind of. I was shocked. I was watching it with my kid in the room. I was like, "Oh my god!"
I was shocked you could remember all that. That's a lot of dialogue.
I pass the billboard every day on Sunset, and I read that it's like one of the most viewed movies on Netflix.
Yes,
Wow.
72 million households in the first 4 weeks. It's a phenomenon. Yeah.
Wow.
All right.
I'll get into it.
The Old Guard on Netflix.
The Old Guard.
And speaking of, just announced, is back with new episodes August 5th on Wow Presents Plus. Sign up for Wow Presents at wowpresentsplus.com.
And that's Trixie Mattel and Katya, for those who don't know, because the title doesn't translate that way to the radio, I don't think. Maybe it does. Maybe I'm old-fashioned. Maybe I'm old guard. I don't know.
You're having a bit of a tittle, I think.
Leave my tittle out of this.
Hey, let's take a break. Blake, have you got a question? Let's take a break.
I do have a question. Okay, not including foreign franchises or the celebrity drag race contestants. How many queens have competed on RuPaul's Drag Race season 1 through season 12?
I should know this. Are we counting Bianca or not?
We are.
I would say
No. Well, after the break.
You're listening to the WOW Report. We'll have the answer for you right after the break.
You're listening to World of Wonders WOW Report. Things that make us go wow.
Welcome back to the WOW Report. I know you've been on the edge of your seat during the break, waiting for the answer to Blake's question.
Yes, I asked. Not including foreign franchises or the celebrity drag race contestants. How many queens have competed on RuPaul's Drag Race seasons 1 through 12?
the regular season's not the All Stars or with
right, because they would count. They were already on.
All right. I would say I remember vividly that Derek was the 100th, so I'm gonna say 148.
It's a very good guess. I used to know this. I'm gonna go higher and say 149 because I'm a bitch.
Oh, I'm gonna go 136.
Well, it's 156. 156 queens. 157. 157 if you count me.
Oh, just infinite. Yeah. And you might cover the back.
I love that. It's just the American Queens. We have so many. We have casts from UK and Thailand and Canada. So we are taking over the world. I love
if you add that all in, it's over 200.
Almost.
All right, so that's a perfect segue, right, to number 4.
Number 4.
This is it tonight. If you don't watch, this is the good time. If you do watch, it's the grand finale of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 5. I have not rehearsed this conversation with Bianca. I'm afraid to ask, but here goes. Have you been watching?
Well, you know what's funny? I have a call. I catch up with everything after like 3 or 4 episodes. I can't watch it in unison because it makes me too pissed. I want to know. Like I don't like not waiting. So I did watch the last one where they had to make clothes. I was finally glad to see a sewing challenge. Kudos to you people. But I have been watching, and you know, it's also this weird thing. I've kind of been behind the scenes myself, you know, being on the show. So when I watch it, I'm watching, especially this group, some of my friends. So it's interesting and fascinating to see that. I go, are they really that talented, or are they really a cunt? And then when I watch it, I go, no, they're not talented. Yes, they are a cunt. But it has been a good season, I think. You had some good gals up there.
We did. It's been an amazing season. It's down to the top 3 queens, Shea Coulee, Juju B, and Ms. Cracker. It's funny, and all the queens get to come back. So there's a cameo appearance by everybody. So they're runway, and it's all that kind of stuff. There's a great music extravaganza, as you can imagine. But I do think, you know, I'm prejudiced, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. I'm making the Kool-Aid, and I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But it was, you know, I'm a nervous person. I always expect the worst thing to happen. COVID-19 is relaxing for me. A global pandemic. I have earthquake packs in my trunk of my car. I have whole closets filled with earthquake materials. But I'm nervous every year. And the All-Stars, people always, you know, are so critical, or they think they know who's best. These were talented queens. Alexis Mateo is a talented queen. India Farah brings a whole, I mean, they just bring what they have. They've been doing it for years, and they love it. And even Derek Barry, who came and left the first, which is crazy, but Derek does star. He's one of the stars, one of the standouts in the Vegas show. You know, it's awful when people have to come and go. It really is, but it is. There's no losers on Drag Race, and it's been a tremendous season. They aren't afraid. No one's quit. No one's written their name on a lipstick.
Good.
You know, it's people are there to play, and that's the audience loves it, and it's a great, you know, since we can't sort of be among our gays socially, I think it's been still very nice with season 12 and now All Stars for us to be at least all sitting in front of the TV and tweeting our asses off.
And you know, I think that in its own weird way, COVID has, you know, whereas before people would be out at the bars watching it together. People are now forced to be at home watching it, and it's been good for ratings in that respect, for sure. But I think it brought some real joy and happiness at a time of a really fucking dark time.
Complete. I mean, unless you're on Fire Island, then you're at some meth party, but that's a whole nother story. Oh, what a shit show that is.
Oh my God.
Everybody's been asking me online, and they keep going, which team are you? Which team are you? Because they feel that you have some influence if you say it. And I just have to say it, and I'm going to say it now. I haven't said it on it. I am Team Joe Biden. That's where it is. And in there.
And I will just point out one more thing to that point. At the end of every show, if you've noticed, we come out with little plackets on season 12 and All Stars that say, register to vote at vote.gov. It's such important. We shot this last summer before things became like there was just a shit show last summer before it was the super shit show. And vote.gov is easy. You plug in your area code, your zip code, and boom, you can register to vote. So thank you for voting.
All right.
8 o'clock, the grand finale of RuPaul's Drag Race All Stars 5. Be there. Team Jujubee, Team Miss Cracker, Team Shea Coulee.
That is correct.
All right, number 3.
Number 3.
Tom, I'm going to give you a little rest so your vocal cords, so you can we'll flip flop, right? Number 3. This is a book so hot you have to read it. So hot it should be printed on asbestos. I am holding up a copy of Pier Groups, and this is like it's a text. There's a lot of words which I haven't read, but I have looked at the pictures, and it's really an amazing record of life on the piers, on the waterfront in New York in the 70s. Now, I am the old guard. I'm very old myself, but I'm not old enough that I was in New York in the 70s. I sort of missed that scene when I moved to New York.
Yeah.
The piers were had kind of gone, but there was this time when, from being the busiest shipping port in the world, right, the piers sort of crumbled and fell down, and they became this playground for the newly emergent queer community. And amazingly, like one of them, I think it was Pier 34, David Wojnarowicz, this East Village artist, basically turned the whole place into a gallery. I was just packed with art, East Village art made by gay people, a lot of graffiti art and subway type art. And it just sounds amazing.
Well, it's good to get you relive that. Is that why James is not here? He's home looking at the book going, oh, I remember that night. Oh, I remember this. Oh, I was there. Oh, I know her. Oh, Listen, as you can see behind me, I love books and I love reading, and I also love any gay history. So I'm quite excited to get this book. And what's it called again?
All right. It's called Pier Groups. Pier Group, which is a title apparently inspired by a gay porn movie.
Even better.
Yeah, and it's got lots of like naked men fucking and cavorting naked, and it's really
an instructional manual as well. Yeah, gay men.
It's fun for the whole family when you're homeschooling, right?
It's fun for your whole family.
The joy of text. Here we are.
Stuffers.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Okay, don't get too excited. Quit looking at the pictures.
So that's Pier Groups by Jonathan Weinberg, who's a professor at the Rhode Island School of Design. He teaches at the Yale School of Art and things of that nature. Number 2.
Number 2.
Are you guys Billy Eichner fans?
Yes.
I am very much. And you know him as Billy on the Street. He's obviously become more of an actor through the American Horror Stories and some other parts. It was just announced this week that he is developing to star and to help write and develop a Paul Lynde biopic.
Fascinating.
Currently titled Man in the Box, because I guess of Hollywood Squares.
Hollywood Squares, yeah.
But I felt like, gays, 70s, New York, the Piers, Paul Lynde had to have dropped by a few times, honey.
You think? But what I find so fascinating is how much people don't know about these people. Like, I recently fell into a hole of a series of books of Liberace, and just finding out, like, the glamour side of it, the end of it. But it's so great to hear their story for the beginning. And I'm quite excited because I thought Paul Lynde was fucking hysterical. And the shit he would get away with.
Paul Lynde was super gay when he couldn't come out and say it, but he would walk to the line, stick his toe over, and stick it back. All of his one-liners in Hollywood Squares are hilarious. I've said this before. One of the first shows that I became an incredible fan of as a little kid, like preschool, was having my Campbell soup and my sandwich cut on an angle. Thanks, Mom. And I would sit and I would watch That Girl and Bewitched. And I love both, but I really love Bewitched. And I really loved Elizabeth Montgomery's sleeveless dresses and her heart locket and her blonde hair. And
did you have that evil twin with the black Serena? Wasn't it Serena?
Oh, Sammy.
See, there was years I thought I was Serena, but now I've confessed to the fact that I'm Endora. I mean, it's just that's just what I've become.
I'm Uncle Arthur, who was played by Paul Lynde. So many people on that production who were classic character actors that were sort of this ensemble were all gay or rumored to be gay, and Paul Lynde was a big part of that. So I can't wait. I think Billy Eichner could pull it off.
Now, Billy Eichner is gay, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so the fact that he's even writing and developing, also that's great. I always think it's important with those types of stories to have that queer voice to actually make it authentic and not some sugarcoat bullshit that people want to hear. You know, just basically the truth, you know?
Yeah. Did he have an unhappy story? Like, what is the arc of his life?
I don't know the full arc of it. He started as a Broadway star in Bye Bye Birdie, which then they brought him to the screen. But he's in so many funny movies and that, and then Hollywood Squares, which was a game show, but it was a game show watched by probably more people than watch television, the biggest thing on today. And he was hilarious and made everybody laugh. And
the Center Square was like the coveted spot. And years later, when they did the reboot of it, Joan Rivers was the coveted spot, and it was always the smart, funny one in the middle. I adored him. Made me cackle.
I think he may have. There's some rumor in this movie. Hopefully, we'll clear it up. But I always felt like he died like of a heart attack, and someone might have thrown in the word poppers. I don't know this for a fact. Don't sue me. But being a gay man and being separated from your identity, is not an easy thing. So he brought a lot of joy to my life, and I can't wait to see what Billy Eichner does with the Paul Lynde story.
Can poppers kill you?
Well, we're all here.
I hope not.
All right, maybe we should take a break. Backyard Envy returning to Bravo season 2, August the 4th at 10 p.m. Until then, watch the brand new season of $1 Million Listings LA Tuesday nights, 10 p.m. Bravo, and get caught up on Hulu or the Bravo app.
Love it.
When we come back, we'll reveal the #1 thing that made us go wow this week. You're listening to the Wow Report on Radio Andy.
You're listening to World of Wonders Wow Report. Things that make us go wow.
All right, welcome back to the Wow Report. I'm Fenton here with Tom and Blake and our super duper special guest, Bianca Del Rio. Okay, we've been counting down the top 10 things that make us go wow. We've reached #1. What is #1?
#1.
I've had a lot to say about this other than just super bows, which is Maxine Waters, who is in her 80s.
Really?
Yes.
She looks amazing.
And has been representing her district for many, many, many years, since the 90s, I think.
Yeah.
Was in her district, driving along, probably being driven in an SUV, and she saw a black man being pulled over and detained by the police. So she pulled over her car, and the police said to her, it's all on tape, said to her, ma'am, you're going to get a ticket. She's like, I'm going to get a ticket. And she did get a ticket for like blocking traffic. But she goes, I got to be here for this. I got to take care of this. They ended up letting the guy go. She got a ticket. But how wonderful that she has that, presence of mind. You know, things happen in life. You're like, just seconds go by. You're like, oh, I wish I'd said. I guess you never think that, Bianca. You don't hold anything in.
But it's like talking and walking and doing the right thing. She's out there. She's the one that's get involved. Talk about it. She takes no one's bullshit. And I gotta say, if I was a police officer and saw Maxine coming my way, I'd be a little concerned.
Yeah.
What do you know what it was that he was being detained for? What were the inciting?
I fit in the details. I don't know much. I just know that Auntie Maxine, like a superhero, like Superman changing his clothes in a phone booth and just landing on the scene, there was Auntie Maxine, and she
not on my watch, not on my watch. Yeah,
I have to say, and this is just something, but the whole defund the police thing, which I think is just the worst name for it. I think it's like a really bad way of explaining a really progressive concept, which is let's reallocate all of the too many things, the burdens. Let's redelegate different things to different social departments and allocate money to cost those. So you're not just taking the money away from the police, who I can't imagine, as awful as police brutality is, and it's pervasive and it needs to stop, and we need to figure out a different way. And that's why I'd like to fund the police, the concept behind the progressive movement. We have to do something different, but I can't imagine being a police officer today, and I worry for them. And I also worry for people that are victims of those brutal policemen. But hopefully culture's changing. But until then, Maxine Waters will show up at every police.
As far as I'm concerned, I never have to see her at a real job. Just have her driving around. That alone will scare these son of a bitches. If you saw Maxine, she is in New Orleans. We used to call the police the popo, and we were like, "Oh, here comes the popo." But if we saw Maxine, it's like your mother with a slipper. Get the fuck away! I'ma take care of your ass, and you would run. And maybe that's what we need. I say kudos to her. I love Maxine. Another reason to love her.
Yes.
We love Maxine.
Mm-hmm.
Well, that's all we got time for this week. Bianca, I can't thank you enough for joining us from your desert retreats.
Desert retreat / rehab center. Everyone that comes to visit me doesn't have a problem. They just come here leaving with a problem.
Yeah. See you in 60 days. We'll let you out.
Tom, thank you. And Blake, thank you. Tune in to the Wow Report on Radio Annie, Sirius XM. Previous episodes on our YouTube channel, Wow Presents. Same time, same place next week. Until then, don't go out. Or if you do go out, wear a mask and do something that makes the world go wow.
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 Watch Drag Race tonight.
Yes.
Ah.